Alright, so today we'll be predicting the next two title fights in each UFC division. We're going to be going past the easy ones. We're going two past that. Of course, Pantoja's going to come back and fight the winner of Van and Tyra. Of course, Volk is going to fight the winner of Movzar and Lerone. Because there was some reports today that Gene Silva is probably getting the next title shot, which is a little crazy to me. But let's just get straight into it. First up, like I said, we got Van Tyra happening in April in Miami. Banger fight. It's very 50-50 to me. And it really could go either way. I haven't really started watching or breaking down the fight yet, thinking about it too much. But nonetheless, they're going to be fighting Pantoja when they come back. Probably in September, October, I'd say. I think both these guys are decently active, especially Josh Van. He's going to be ready no matter what. Pantoja looks like he's healed from his injury pretty well. There wasn't any like tendon or ligament damage, I'm pretty sure, or like real bone damage. I think it was just a dislocation, which does of course take time to heal, but not as long as expected. I thought that was like at least a year out of fighting. I was like, fuck, dude, his career might be over. But I think he's good. He can come back in pretty good strength, full strength, and fight Tatsuro Taira. Honestly, right now, I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm picking Tatsuro Taira. I would love for it to be Josh Van, so we can get the rematch with Pantoja. But hey, we could still get that because I'm thinking about it a little more. Van couldn't control the pace of the fight, piece up Tyra kind of like Royval did, and defend one on the ground. But we'll see. I'm gonna go with Tyra for now, and I think this will be the next title fight in September, around September. Maybe they go to Japan for this, with another Yuri fight. If he's ready and the next opponent will be ready for Yuri, but I think this is next. And then after that, I think Pantoja beats Tyra. I think Pantoja is the better striker. Very, very similar, not similar on the ground, but very skilled on the ground, both of them. Pantoja's more experienced, better cardio, better pace setting. And I think he would be able to win a decision over Tatsuro Taira. And he will fight Manel Kape in a rematch from 2020. I think it's going to happen like early 2027. I think Kape will fight one time over the summer. He did hint as having some fight news, and they have been booking fights like pretty far in advance. They just started booking some from Azerbaijan and Baku, Azerbaijan. That fight night, which is late June. They obviously booked the White House. They have an Apex fight night coming up, a couple in June. So I think he could beat a Kyoji Horiguchi in a rematch this time. I think he's a much better striker now. Not much better, but he's a much better striker than when he was. He did fight him in 2017. I actually just watched that fight today, from their fight in Ryzen, and I think Manel Kape's a much better striker than he was back then. That was almost 10 years ago. Well, 8.5, almost 9 years ago, and I think he could beat Kyoji in a rematch. But either way, it's either Kyoji versus Pantoja or Kape versus Pantoja. I could see that fight going either way as well, but I think Kape gets it. Him and Kyoji fight over the summer once Kyoji's healed from his broken hand, and they fight Alexandre Pantoja for his first title defense in his second reign, and then Pantoja beats them. Either one, I don't give a fuck. And I think we get the rematch, the much awaited, nearly a year and a half after it was supposed to happen. Josh Van versus Alexandre Pantoja 2. Because I think, look, you have Loner Kavanaugh there, who I think is really, really good. But I think he gets another contender win, maybe like a Royval. Royval did turn him down from Macau, but I think over the summer they could fight. Maybe Brandon Royval wasn't ready. But I think Loner gets one more win in that top range and then fights somebody, maybe like a Manel Kape, maybe like a Tatsuro Taira later in the year after Taira loses to Pantoja. And I think Taira could beat him. And then I think Josh Van will rack up wins, beat a lot of guys outside of that title picture. And then he'll be pushed for another title shot because this is going to be probably the most hyped up fight you could get at flyweight. Other than maybe like a Horiguchi Pantoja, but I think even a Van Pantoja 2 is more intriguing than that. Especially with that first 20 seconds of the fight being a fucking scrap for while it lasted. But that's all I got for flyweight. Now we move on to bantamweight, which the next fight, I'm pretty sure, will be Yan versus Merab 3, because O'Malley is booked to fight Zahabi. I think this fight will happen in July or August of this year. And I think they 100% need to make it. They're 1-1, both 50-45 each other, basically. And hopefully we get a much improved Merab, and we get Petr Yan coming off a near perfect performance. So we get a healthy Merab, a smarter Merab because I don't think he's fought as smart as he could. But even then, I still think Piotr Jan, the way he fought that last fight, I think he could definitely beat Merab in a trilogy. You know, so I think he wins that, and then I think this fight's inevitable. You know, Sean O'Malley versus Piotr Jan 2. There's backstory there. O'Malley already beat him, whatever way you think that is. It was a very close fight. Either way you score it, I've watched it a couple of times. I flip-flop back and forth between who won. And O'Malley, I think, is going to get an easy win over Zahabi. Zahabi's going to be tough because he's going to come forward. He's going to throw volume. He's going to box with him. He is very tough, very durable, but I think he gets chinned in the later rounds by Sean O'Malley once Sean O'Malley picks it up. It could be just a really dominant third round to a decision, kind of like the Song fight, but a little more dominant maybe, like that third round. Like, I'm not saying how the beginning of the fight, but just how the tempo went, where it's like that third round, Sean O'Malley was winning very decisively and piecing up Song Yadong. But I think he beats Ayman Zahabi pretty easily, honestly. Makes a statement on the White House card. And then maybe late this year, early next year, if Piotr Jan's healthy, they run this back. The rematch for the belt. You either get Piotr Jan becoming a bigger star, you have a huge fight at bantamweight, and then you have Sean O'Malley possibly becoming champ again, which I don't think will happen. I think Piotr Jan beats him in another fight. Especially O'Malley hasn't been looking great lately. And then I think we actually get Umar's finally awaited title shot after, that's going to be like 2.5 years between title shots for Umar. That's fucked up. But I honestly don't think he's going to get one. As long as he doesn't finish, he's going to be like a Movzar, bro. He's not finishing people, having these pretty dull fights. Like, the only reason the Mario Bautista fight was any bit exciting was because Mario Bautista, what do you have, like a toe hold or something? And then the knee that Mario Bautista dropped him with. I think Umar should get it before O'Malley, or it should have been O'Malley and Umar. That would have been the best fight to make a number one contender fight. But I think Umar would win that. But I mean, I just think it's Paramount era, bro. We've been seeing it. Saw with every title shot this year, basically. Pimlet, Gaethje, both those guys did not deserve that shit. Lopez Volk 2, the fuck. BMF, whatever. Then you have Van Tyler's perfect. Yuri Oberg's perfect. Those are perfect. And then the ones at the White House are also perfect. But May, Hamzat Strickland, Imavov's on a 5-fight win streak. Cannonier, Borayo, fucking Izzy, and he's still not getting the title shot. So I think Umar's gonna get fucked. He's gonna get put in the cuck chair, and I just think he beats all these contenders. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, fighter in the division. I don't think he's better than Jan, but I think he could beat like someone like a Merab in a rematch. I think he could beat an O'Malley, and I think he gets a title shot finally, years later. Now into featherweight, we know Volk will be defending his title against the winner. Actually, like I said at the beginning, we don't know because there's reports, but I think this could still happen if Movzar is ready in time. If he says I'm not ready, then he's fucked, and we move on to step 2 of this operation. Because I think Volk beats Movzar. Movzar beats Lerone. Volk beats Movzar. We move on to step 2 of this operation, which is Alexander Volkanovski defending his title versus Gene Silva. And I'm not going to lie, bro. It's an interesting fight. Volk could definitely win, but I think aging, he's going to keep aging. Especially if he gets a Movzar fight and then this one. Gene Silva's just going to keep getting better. He's in his prime. And I think if it doesn't happen next, then I think Gene maybe beats like a Yair or something. I think he's the best featherweight in the world. I think he knocks out Volk. And then sometime in 2027, he's defending his title for the first time. And we get another highly anticipated rematch versus Kevin Vallejos El Chino. Because I think Vallejos could beat 2 contenders. I think in the fall, he could beat a Zalal or Aljo, winner or loser. I could see both of them happening, but I think he could beat both of them. Especially if it's a Zalal, I think Zalal more. Or maybe an Aljo, I think he'd piece those guys up and keep it off the feet. He's a very well-rounded game. He has nasty boxing, super good awareness and positioning. I think he's very good. And then after that, I think he needs 2 wins because he's not going to get a win between now and like a year. or more. Or if this does happen in July, it's Gene Silva versus Volk, then it may be only one more win for Kevin Vallejos, and they run that shit back. But if it isn't, then I think he gets another top contender win over Diego Lopez or Steve Garcia winner. I think he beat both those guys. I think Diego Lopez, this guy's Kevin Vallejos is much more skilled, much more defensively sound than a Gene Silva. I mean, more defensively sound than him, more skilled than a Diego, and I think he could beat Diego. I think he could beat Steve Garcia as well. I think he maybe chin Steve Garcia even. It will be a very hard time for Steve Garcia in that fight. But I think this is a fight we get in featherweight in the next couple of title fights. I'm high on Vallejos. I'm high on Gene Silva, and I think it happens. Now on to lightweight. We know this is the next fight for the title. It's booked, of course, for the White House. We already know what Ilya's going to do to Gaethje. When he wakes up, it will be quick. Everything happened quick. You won't even remember. Then I think Arman finally gets his title shot, but not against Ilya. Against Charles for the vacant belt later this year. Because I think after Ilya beats Gaethje, he's going to call out Islam on the White House in the biggest stage, main event. Call out Islam. And he's going up. I think they're going to do it because, they almost did make this fight for the White House. It wasn't the option. The UFC, I don't know if the UFC confirmed, but the managers confirmed it and stuff. A couple other reporters confirmed it that it was Islam versus Ilya. Try to make that at the White House. They gave Ilya the option to move up to 170. There were some money disputes, but then there was some Islam hand. So whatever. I think it still happens. I think they're gonna do it. So I think in the meantime, Arman is gonna fight Charles for a vacant belt. Huge rematch. Charles going back for the belt. Arman's built up this huge popularity and this huge following, and became more likable, became more friendly, and the best fighter in the division outside of Ilya, in my opinion. And I think they run this rematch back. It was a very close fight a couple years ago. I thought Arman definitely won, but still close fight. Charles almost subbed him. If it was 5 rounds, Charles would have won. Things like that. So in the rematch, though, I think Ilya will come back down no matter what happens. If he wins or loses at 170, and Arman beats Charles, it could be for interim as well, that other fight. But either way, I think this is going to be the next title fight, whether it's interim versus Ilya still the champ, or Ilya vacated and Arman holds the real belt. So I think this fight could happen at lightweight sometime in spring or summer 2027, after the whole debacle or whatever. Now, onto welterweight. We know Islam will be defending his title next, of course. I think it'll be Morales or Gary. I don't think it's going to be Usman. It's kind of already seemed like that. Almost was Ilya. But I think either Morales or Gary, whoever, doesn't matter. It's going to be July. And I think Islam beats either of them, honestly. And then, like I said, Ilya will be moving up. That'll be the next one. I think, boom, already booked for the White House. Like I said already, this is going to happen. I think Islam wins at 170. At 155, I would favor Ilya. I think at 170, it's still a very close fight. I could pick Ilya, but I would like him to win. I'll be sick. But I think Islam wins at 170. And then Islam would be defending his title again sometime in 2027. And I have a sneaky feeling this guy's going to get some nice favorable matchups, especially if he beats his next opponent, JDM. I think Carlos Prates will be fighting for a title in about a year or more, or a little more. I think he beats JDM. As of right now, I'm picking him. So I think JDM is a little bit hittable. I need to go watch that Bilal fight back, see where there's some openings for Carlos Prates, for CP to let it all out. And then after that, I think he fights. I think Ian Gary might get the title shot next. So maybe he fights a Morales or Usman after that, later in the year. And I think he beats both of those guys as well. And they wait out. And he waits out and then he fights. If it's Usman, it'll be 3 champs in a row. I think he calls for a title shot, and that'll be fucking cinema if he gets a title shot. That'll be a sick build-up. Hopefully I would think Islam would beat him, but it would be cool to see him get a title shot. Carlos Prates, a smoker, a drinker, the partier, see him get a title shot. So that's my work at welterweight. Now it gets a little tricky these next couple of divisions. Because, of course, we have Hamzat Strickland next. And I think Hamza beats him, but still very fun fight, amazing fight. It's gonna be a very fun build up. The press conference, all that shit is gonna be awesome. And I think, like I said, I think Hamza beats him, and Imavov finally gets his title shot. Finally, but this time against DDP, because Hamza will be moving up. I have another fighter I think will be moving up to fight the winner of Yuri Oberg. It already almost happened. Hamza versus Yuri. The Octagon MMA CEO was saying that there was some panic from Hunter Campbell. He made the fight Yuri versus Hamza because he thought Hamza was overweight. But then things kind of sorted itself, and then stayed in there. He stayed in his division. But I think Imavov could wait out maybe, or fight someone. If they say he fights maybe fights. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe no, not even Izzy. He's fought a lot of these guys. He beat Cow, he beat Izzy. Maybe like a Fluffy if he gets another win, something like that. But he could fight him. But it's a little difficult in that division. And then DDP, I think he fights Brendan Allen over the summer, beats him, and then gets back in there. Dricus likes to be decently active. I think for a vacant title shot, definitely get back in there. And in this matchup, honestly, it might be just some recency bias, but I'm favoring Imavov. I think he's the better striker, more technical, faster striker. I think he could win this matchup. He's a good takedown defense as well. I think he could win it. And then this is where it gets tricky in this division, because I think we could see this. But say Strickland gets dominated by Hamzat. He'd be 0-3 in title fights in his last 3. Obviously 1-3 with the Izzy win. 0-3, just got dominated in the last 2. Would he get another one? Or if he makes it a close, tough fight with Hamzat but still loses, I think this will definitely happen. If he gets like 1 or 2 more wins, because I think he could still beat a lot of these top guys. Now, here's where it gets a little what's it called? A little bit of a reach. Imavov beats DDP, defends his belt. I don't know if a lot of people will agree with me on this one, but I think RoboCop could be getting a title shot sometime in 2027. Because I think he might fight Fluffy later this year. I think he could knock the fuck out of Fluffy. He has good body. Like, he has RoboCop. Okay, his cardio looks a little sus sometimes. His chin, of course, but Fluffy ain't testing that chin. He's looked more technical. He has a nice 1-2. He works the body pretty well with body kicks and two-step body. He's a big, strong motherfucker. Good jiu-jitsu. Super, super powerful. I think I could see him beating a Fluffy. And then one more for this, let's say over the summer. And then later on, late this year, early next year, fights like a Kyle Barallo. If Barallo gets a couple more wins, or a win or 2, or a Brendan Allen, fights one of those guys, beats them. 2 wins, and he might be fighting for a title if Imavov wants to be active as well. Spring, summer 2027. RoboCop for the title, and then wait. RoboCop beats him, knocks him out. CLD's making his run for the title. CLD versus RoboCop 2 for the title. Absolute cinema. That's my ideal scenario, but I think this could happen. It's doable. I'm not. RoboCop, it's an iffy one with him. You never know, bro. But it's a reach on my part. Now into light heavyweight. Of course, we have Yuri versus Oberg happening in April in Miami. I think Yuri takes that. And like I said, Hamza will be moving up, I think. Fighting for the title. I think he gets Yuri out of there. I think he's a superior grappler here. His size is gonna be fine. I think his size is gonna translate well. He looked really big next to Khalil when they're training. I think he beats Yuri, honestly. I think he really could. And he'll defend his title at light heavyweight some point. I don't know when. But I honestly think, I know a lot of you guys aren't gonna like this, but Ankalaev could get another title shot. I think Ankalaev could beat a Khalil Rountree, or Robert Whittaker, because Robert Whittaker does have a fight booked at light heavyweight for July. Could be versus Ankh. He could beat a Blachowicz in a rematch if they do that. And he could beat a Mirzakhanov. I think he could beat all 4 of those guys. Mirzakhanov's probably the iffiest one. But I think he'd beat all 4 of those guys. Two out of the 4, I'd say. And get a title shot by then. Maybe fight mid this year, early next year, and then get a title shot later on. I think we could see that with Ankalaev. I know a lot of people are going to like that. Maybe I disagree. Maybe I'll disagree. I don't know. This is an iffy one on my part, but I think it could happen. It has like that Dagestan wrestler type of thing. I know Ank's not a wrestler, but he's more of a kickboxer. But it has that little, like, you know, two Muslim guys going at it with the no mustache beard. And maybe, you never know. So now on to heavyweight. We know the next fight is Alex Pereira versus Ciryl, and they will be fighting the winner. Or the winner will be fighting Tom Aspinall. I think Pereira is definitely winning that. I think he beats the shit out of Ciryl. And then, you know, I think Alex beats him. I think Alex is the best heavyweight in the world right now. And then he beats both of them in 2026. I think that fight will happen like November, December 2026, the Aspinall fight. And then he fights a Volkov who gets 2 contender wins. Volkov beats Waldo, I think, in May. And maybe another contender. Maybe he beats a Ciryl or Josh Hockett coming up. Or maybe they do a Pavlovich rematch. Who else is up there? Yeah, like I said, Gone maybe. I think if he fought Aspinall, he wouldn't win, but I think the timelines wouldn't line up. So I think, Volkov. I remember they talked up. There was like a rumor about this at 313. This was going to be a heavyweight fight. I'm not 100% sure if that was real, but I think it would be pretty cool, especially if Volkov racks up a nice little win streak, finally paid his dues for getting robbed versus Ciryl, and then getting the decision versus Jota Almeida, having to be in that boring fight, whatever. I think this could happen. And then here's where it gets tricky, because those first 2 are obviously very predictable for heavyweight. I think Alex Pereira may stay in the sport after that 3 fights at heavyweight. He looked damn good last fight. He could stay in the sport, and I think he could fight an Aspinall again, because I think Aspinall is the second best heavyweight in the world. He could beat all the contenders. All the other contenders was a Volkov, a Pavlovich, a Gane, Waldo, Blades, whatever, maybe a Hockett. So I think we could get this rematch right, because I think it won't be easy for Alex to beat Aspinall. I think it could be a hard, tough fight, very good, high skilled fight. What's the word I'm looking for? Not high profile, but like whatever. A very skilled fight, high level, I should say. That's what I was trying to say. I think it'd be a fight like that, and maybe when people want to see the rematch, because Tom was making it close, Tom was making it hard, Tom wins. Maybe if it goes to decision, it's close. Maybe Tom gave him some trouble and then Alex knocked him out, something like that. I could see it. Or if there is some sort of retirement from Alex Pereira, he's done with the sport. I think Aspinall will stay in there and beat a whatever contender and get back in there for a title versus Ciryl 2, Volkov 2, Josh Hockett, whatever it may be, Sergey Pavlovich 2 if he keeps winning. Because I know he's fighting Tyson Teixeira next. That was bullshit. But those are my predictions for the next 2 title fights in every division. It was pretty tough doing this, honestly, because it's like there's so many factors that go into it. How many times this guy's going to fight, when he's going to fight, this, that. People are moving up, the contenders or prospects coming up. That was a hard fight. So I didn't do too much into the future because of the prospects. So I was like, fuck that. Because I remember I started talking about Piotr Jan versus Peyton Talbot. I'm like, all right, bro, let me chill out. But those are my predictions. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And my full card picks for the UFC London will be out Friday, of course. So I'll see ya.